Just take a minute and think about the cars of the World Rally Championship and what springs to mind. Colin McRae's 555 Subaru Impreza perhaps, or the game-changing Audi Quattro. But no trip down memory lane would be quite complete without arguably the most iconic of them all, the Lancia Stratos. From 1974 to 1976, the Lancia Stratos was a car that dominated the World Rally Championship, and in 1977 powered Sandro Minari to the inaugural Drivers' World title. Now, the Italians know a thing or two about style, or so I'm told. As you can probably tell, style is something I know nothing about. But when it comes to cars, the Italians do it best. Take the Ferrari 212 Touring Barchetta, or even the Fiat 500 original as a prime example of this. But the Stratos is certainly not out of place in such illustrious company. Now, the story about how the Stratos got its eye-catching looks involves a certain Giovanni Bertoni. Now, the Italian designer worked with the likes of Alfa Romeo, Lamborghini, Ferrari, to name but a few. And after getting word that Lancia were looking for a new design to replace the ageing Fulvia, Bertoni went into action. Now, Lancia wanted something to go rallying with, and one day Bertone turned up at the Lancia factory with a Stratos Zero prototype, which he actually fed underneath the barriers. This was met by rapturous applause by the Lancia factory workers, and that day, Lancia and Bertone's relationship was secured. Lancia and Bertone got to work on the design of a new rally car based on the ideas of Bertone designer Marcello Gandini, the very man who designed the Lamborghini Miura and Countach. Lancia were in safe hands then, and at the 1971 Turin Motor Show unveiled the Lancia Stratos to much acclaim. Production ran from 1973 to 1978, but even into the early 1980s, the Stratos name was a regular on the World Rally Championship, often in the hands of privateers. But what happened after that? Was this the end of the Stratos? Not quite. We caught up with the man who's keeping the Stratos legacy alive today. I'm here with Gerry from Hawk Cars. Now, if you look behind us, you can see a rather fine machine here. Now, Gerry, what is it you actually do here?
Well, we make cars. Primarily, we design and build cars and create replicas of existing cars. I tend to like making cars which I've always lusted after, I've always wanted.
Hence the two Lancia Stratos we've got here.
I mean, the Stratos has been, a fantastic car for, many years, and it's one of my dream cars. And, at the time when I was interested in cars, it was the one that was winning absolutely everything.
Yeah.
I've got two cars which I'm quite passionate about, which are both totally opposites on the spectrum. And the Lancia Stratos, which is a sophisticated, mid-engined, do anything you can do faster machine. And of course, my other passion is the AC Cobra.
How did the passion really start? Was it due to the World Rally Championship for the Stratos, or was there another reason?
I've always been fascinated with cars and motor racing and stuff like that. I didn't have an early start really, but when I was 17, I was lucky enough to get a Mini Cooper S for my birthday. My dad had bought it, not realising what the S badge stood for until he actually tried to insure it for me. But I had a lot of fun with a Cooper S, and I got involved with some friends, and I ended up doing some rally and driving tests and hill climbs and sprints and stuff like that. At the time we were living in Singapore, it's much safer there because you could bounce off the rubber trees. But we had a lot of fun. I came back to this country in 1966, 67. It was Christmas time. And I'd got myself a place at Shoreditch College, University of London, to do engineering and design. My thesis was on handmade cars, and I started learning how to make the car. And I helped make a very special car, which I called the Crab Claw. And it was a car that was due to run at Le Mans, running a 1300cc twin-cam Lotus engine and a Hewland box. The fantastic thing about it was not only was it very, very low, but the chassis was made out of balsa wood and fiberglass. It was a malite sandwich of balsa wood with glass fibre each side of it, and I helped to create that. I got a job in teaching, and I ended up making more and more go-karts and taking the kids kart racing. And if I wanted a sports car and I couldn't afford one, I'd make my own.
Yeah.
And one of my friends was a chap called Roger Perry, and he owned a little business called Classico, and he also ran the Lancia Stratos Club in this country, and he owned a lime green Stratos, and he wanted me to make spare body panels for people who'd got the car. So we started off doing some bits and pieces for him. And then he said to me, if you want to make a Stratos, he said, you can borrow mine. And his car was totally mint. It was absolutely perfect. It had got a couple of scratches on the driver's side, on the left-hand side, because it was left-hand drive, where someone had knocked it with a shopping trolley, and other than that, it was perfect. And at the time, I sort of had to hold back for space reasons, but then I was fortunate enough to move to Oakley, where we're standing now.
Yeah.
And in this workshop where we're standing, I had his car, I stripped it down to every last nut and bolt. I jigged off of the chassis, I jigged off of all the various bits and pieces, and we took the full set of moulds off of every panel and started making them. I thought, well, maybe I'll make 10 or 12 or so. You know. The first show we went to and showed the first car, I just couldn't believe it, because we came back with 14 orders. Having produced the Stradale, the road version, very much like the one we're standing in front of here, the red one.
Yep.
I sort of really, what I wanted to do was a Group 4, because if you're a bit of a petrol head or a Stratos nut, you know, this thing that appeals is the roar of a Stratos going through the forest in Wales or somewhere with a back missing. The Stradale, the Square Arch Group 4, the Round Arch Group 4, and the latest one we've done is the Marlborough job, the Giro d'Italia, with its lovely periscope at the back, which is quite fun. It's a talking, but it's not actually connected to the engine, but it does look fun and makes people smile. They always ask questions, which is a nice way of getting people talking.
So how many would you say you've built over the years?
Well, we've been doing them now for about 32 years.
Yeah.
Most of the cars that we sold originally are still in the hands of the original owners. They won't part with them. One guy has actually started making another one. Several people have had more than one. We've made over 600 now. We've had them tested and various things done to them.
So you've actually made more of these
well,
than Lancia actually made?
Yeah, they made 260. Some people say there was 280, but as far as my information goes, they made about 260, and then there were another 10 or 12 that were built up from bits, mainly done with the Jolly Club. I think one of the best things about being involved in this industry and doing such nice little cars and specialist cars is the sort of people that we've met. People like, you know, Nicky Biassion and people like that, and Alan Grant, and to get to know them and be friends with them all. The list is endless. I mean, Rizzo Williams, God rest his soul, he had one of our cars. Sir Jack Sears, Sir John Whitmore, you know, sort of, that is probably one of the nicest things, that I've sort of like rubbed shoulders with my heroes and become friends with them.
That's fantastic.
You know, get Christmas cards from people like Adrian Newey. It's been a nice journey. What I'm going to make next, well, I've got lots of ideas. I keep making kiddie cars and things like this. There's something nice about running your own business and looking round at what you've got and what you've achieved, and you know, realising that you've created these things and you're responsible for these things.
Gerry, thank you so much. We really appreciate that. Some lovely stories.
My pleasure.